Good. Let's go. Last 10, put it in.
My back. Is there a doctor in here? My back's got...
Breaking news. Anthony Joshua got injured while preparing for his fight with Jake Paul, and his whole training camp stopped immediately. He hurt his back during training, and now people are seriously considering postponing the fight until he fully recovers.
We've seen what we've seen. Offensively, defensively, heart-wise, defense.
Eddie Hearn admits the beginning was a disaster, and he's right. Anthony Joshua's back injury while preparing for Jake Paul has thrown the whole camp into chaos. The only good news is AJ's incredible determination, staying focused even after the setback.
But, you know, at this point you have to try and take any positives you can, and it's difficult because the start was disastrous. And the only positives I can take is the unbelievable.
Anthony Joshua's back injury is being carefully checked by Frank Warren and the team. Training is on hold while doctors decide whether Joshua is healthy enough to fight Jake Paul. This delay shows how serious the injury is, and nothing will continue until he is fully ready.
And we're determining whether he's going to be fit to box. If he's not well enough, then obviously he won't fight, but we don't know what the outcome is yet.
The news about Anthony Joshua hurting his back while preparing for Jake Paul has raised a lot of serious questions. Johnny Nelson says an investigation is needed because no one really knows the full details yet. Fans and people in the sport are waiting to see if Joshua can continue, showing how quickly one injury can put a big fight at risk.
Unfortunately, there is going to be there needs to be an inquiry straight after this. Why? What? But that's what I'm hearing. The news is as fresh to me as it is you. I'm quite sure when this goes out, it'll be all over the place anyway.
Anthony Joshua's withdrawal from the Jake Paul fight has shocked the boxing world. Eddie Hearn says there's a lot of money involved, but Joshua's health is the top priority. His back injury forced everything to stop, showing that even the biggest fights can't happen when a fighter isn't physically ready.
To pull out with all the money that's been spent and for squeaky bum time is not the way forward. And I think Jake Paul's game.
Anthony Joshua's back injury while preparing for Jake Paul has caused a lot of confusion in the boxing world. Johnny Nelson describes the uncertainty well as the news spreads. Fans and insiders are now left wondering what will happen next, whether Joshua can return to training or if the fight will be put on hold for an unknown amount of time.
It don't matter what drugs you take, it doesn't make you a better fighter. It might make you stronger, it might make you fit. It doesn't make you a better fighter. That's proof. You know, so until more news comes out.
Anthony Joshua's back injury while preparing for Jake Paul shows that setbacks can happen even during training. Shannon Briggs reminds everyone that being in the gym doesn't always mean a fighter is fully ready. The injury has forced Joshua to pause his camp and rethink things, proving how important recovery is before stepping into the ring.
It's gonna be a good fight. I just heard that rumor that, this morning or last night. I don't know if it's true. Somebody said he's been down in the gym a couple of times, but...
Chael Sonnen points out how Anthony Joshua's injury changes the story around Jake Paul. The back issue during training shows that Paul isn't facing a fully prepared heavyweight. Even so, Joshua's experience and toughness still make him the clear favorite once he's back. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is left waiting and maybe overestimating his chances.
Problem that Paul ran into is when Feldman turned in a ridiculous decision, which is where Paul should have left it.
Derek Chisora explains why Anthony Joshua's back injury during preparations for Jake Paul is serious. Mistakes in sparring can be fixed, but a real injury changes everything. Joshua needs to fully recover before facing Paul to make sure the fight is safe and competitive for both fighters.
It's only different. Sparring, you're there to learn. So the guy you knocked out in sparring, he's understand, okay, I did this silly move, that's how I got knocked out. So I'm going to have to stop doing these silly moves so I don't get...
Carl Froch says Anthony Joshua is on a completely different level compared to Jake Paul. Joshua's power, experience, and size make him a true heavyweight. Jake Paul has never faced someone like him, and his loss to Tommy Fury shows his limits. Putting him against Joshua now, especially while AJ is recovering from a back injury, shows how mismatched it is. Fans can see that Joshua is the real threat and serious competitor in the ring, while Jake Paul is still learning what it takes to face a world-class heavyweight.
AJ is a big punching heavyweight. And fake Paul's never been in with a heavyweight. Like I said earlier, he lost to Tommy Fury, a cruiserweight. He lost to him. Tommy Fury's not even British level. So you can't chuck fake Paul in with Anthony Joshua and take it serious. Well, I can't anyway.
Duke McKenzie sums up the reality of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. On paper, this should be an easy win for Joshua, but his back injury during training raises a big question. The fight can make money. Joshua's legacy is on another level. If he's fully healthy, Paul has no chance. The injury now complicates things, delaying what should have been a straightforward match. Fans are left wondering if the fight will happen on time and how Joshua will recover fully to stay dominant against Jake Paul.
It'll be the easiest fight of his career. If he wants to get 100 million and not even break sweat, you know, you take the fight. Is it going to enhance his stock as the world's #1 contender? Not at all, because nobody's going to take Jake Paul seriously. But on the other hand, I don't even want to play devil's advocate. What if Joshua hurts this guy, seriously hurts this guy?
Yeah. Simon Jordan says that Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua is completely unrealistic. Even after losing to Daniel Dubois, Joshua is still a 2-time heavyweight champion with skills, power, and ring IQ far beyond anything Paul has faced. His back injury during training doesn't change the fact that Joshua is a serious fighter who can dominate when fully healthy. Jake Paul is also facing a mental challenge, knowing he's up against a world-class heavyweight like Joshua, even while AJ is recovering, a pressure he's never experienced before.
Not his financial welfare, but Jake Paul going into a fight with Anthony Joshua, to me, is absurd. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a legitimate 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. He may have got destroyed by Daniel Dubois, but notwithstanding, there's nothing physically wrong with Anthony Joshua that he can't execute. Mentally, he might be in a little bit of a difficult position.
Dave Allen points out the big size difference between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. Joshua is a natural heavyweight with real power and presence in the ring, while Paul isn't at that level. His back injury during training shows he can't rush back or take shortcuts. Fans can see that. Even with all the online hype, Jake Paul doesn't match Joshua in size, skill, or toughness. The injury break lets AJ fully recover, making it clear who the true heavyweight is in this matchup.
I'm not sure really, you know, Jake Paul's a cruiserweight, isn't he? Not even that. You know, he won't be anywhere near his biggest partner of mine.
Johnny Nelson points out the real danger Jake Paul faces against Anthony Joshua. Even with Joshua's back injury during training, he is still bigger, stronger, and more experienced. The fight might go ahead for business reasons, but the risk for Paul is huge. Once Joshua fully recovers, he could make this fight short and brutal. Fans can see that health, timing, and experience all favor AJ, while Jake Paul may not be ready physically or mentally to face a true heavyweight like him.
So you think this could be dangerous for Jake Paul?
Oh my goodness, without a doubt. Now the governing bodies now have got to look at this. Would they sanction this fight in any other dimension? No, they wouldn't. But unfortunately, boxing is now more business than show. And this is business, and so the sanctioning bodies aren't going to say, no, this kid doesn't deserve.
Spencer Oliver sums up the danger Jake Paul faces against Anthony Joshua. AJ's win over Francis Ngannou showed how quickly he can control and dismantle a tough opponent. Coming from social media boxing, Jake Paul has never faced someone with Joshua's experience, strength, and tactical skill. Even with Joshua's back injury during training, it's clear that his body is what powers his ability. Once fully recovered, AJ's mix of power, technique, and ring intelligence will make the fight extremely hard for Paul. The injury delays the fight, but doesn't change the huge gap in experience and skill between them.
God help Jake Paul, that's all I can say. We saw that what Anthony Joshua had done to Francis Ngannou. He went out there and iced him in a couple of rounds. A guy coming from a different discipline. Well, this kid's coming from another level. You know, white-collar boxing in 2018, gone through the mill, and the only boxer really that he's actually boxed, a legitimate boxer he got beat by, and that was in Tommy Fury. Now,
Tony Bellew points out the big size and strength advantage Anthony Joshua has over Jake Paul, showing why the fight is very risky for Paul. Joshua's training was interrupted by a back injury, but he is still bigger, stronger, and far more experienced. Once fully recovered, Joshua will be in complete control in the ring. Jake Paul's limits in size and skill will be exposed. The injury break only gives Joshua time to come back stronger, while Paul is still learning how to face a real heavyweight. Fans can clearly see who holds the real power.
Anthony Joshua, who's now 5 inches bigger than you, maybe more, or 4 or 5 inches, and about 100 pounds heavier. You just don't go from there right up to there. I don't believe it. And I won't believe it until the two of them got 10-ounce gloves on in a boxing ring. Because if Anthony Joshua puts 10-ounce gloves on and gets in a boxing ring and Jake Paul is in the other corner.
Sam Jones warns about the danger Jake Paul faces against Anthony Joshua. AJ's power has been proven in fights like the one against Francis Ngannou, and even one punch could do serious damage. Joshua's back injury has paused the fight, but once he's fully fit, Paul will be at huge risk. This shows why the fight must be taken seriously and why Joshua is still the clear favorite. The injury is only a temporary setback for AJ, while Paul has to face the reality of going up against a real heavyweight who can hit with devastating power.
Power at any moment.
Listen, we can all joke, but nobody wants any
permanent damage to happen to Jake Paul. But if Anthony Joshua hits Jake Paul with the right hand he hit Francis Ngannou with, he could brown bread him.
Frank Warren's mention of Usyk being dropped in sparring reminds us that even top fighters can have vulnerable moments. Anthony Joshua's back injury while preparing for Jake Paul is another example of how unpredictable training can be. While AJ was pushed to his limits, this setback is part of getting ready for a serious fight. The break lets him fully recover and come back stronger. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is left waiting and cannot take advantage because Joshua's class and skill still outshine his experience. This shows how important health and timing are, and how hype can sometimes mislead fans about the real threat in the ring.
Get dropped in sparring, but generally is news to me. I've not heard that before.
The Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight is now uncertain after Joshua hurt his back during training, shocking the boxing world. Fans were excited for the fight, but health comes first. Joshua must fully recover before stepping into the ring. Once he's back at full strength, his power, experience, and skill as a two-time heavyweight champion will make Jake Paul's chances very small. This break gives Joshua time to rebuild and come back stronger, showing that social media hype can't beat real heavyweight experience. The stakes are high. If AJ returns fit and wins, it will strengthen his legacy. For Jake Paul, any mistake could be career-defining. What do you think? Will Anthony Joshua come back stronger than ever?